When you picture French food, you probably imagine a pristine white tablecloth. It has a reputation for being intimidating, highly complex, and cooked in exclusive kitchens far removed from everyday life. In reality, traditional French cooking is shaped by something much more grounded: geography and weather. To see how that works, we can explore the country through its ingredients, looking at how the landscape determines what ends up on the table. Every bite reveals something specific about the soil, the local climate, and the history of the people who live there. We start in the northwest, where the air is cool and the fields are deep green. This damp climate in Normandy makes it the perfect environment for raising dairy cattle. Norsemen brought these cows to the region over 1,000 years ago. Their milk is naturally high in fat, which became the foundation for rich local staples like camembert and Livarot cheese. Just to the west in Brittany, the local butter has a distinct, salty crunch. Most of France historically had to pay a heavy tax on salt, but Brittany was exempt, allowing farmers there to use it freely in their dairy while the rest of the country went without. Far to the east, high up in the Alps, the environment is much harsher. The freezing winters meant people needed calorie-dense foods that could be stored for months. This produced mountain cheeses like Beaufort. Its complex flavor is a direct result of the specific mountain plants that the cows graze on at high altitudes during the short summer. Further south in Languedoc, the geography offers a different solution for preservation. Roquefort is made from raw sheep's milk and aged in natural underground caves that provide the perfect, consistent temperature for its unique development. From the mountain peaks to the limestone caves, a region's altitude and environment dictate exactly what kind of milk is produced and how it's preserved. This practical approach extends to savory meals as well. On the northern coasts of Brittany, fishermen created a simple stew called cotriade. It was a way to use up the leftover daily catch by simmering it with potatoes and onions into a clear broth. Along the Mediterranean in Marseille, Bouillabaisse followed a similar path. It began as a working-class meal made from the bony rockfish that fishermen couldn't sell at the market. In the cold inland region of Alsace, survival meant preserving vegetables to get through the long winters. This led to choucroute, cabbage fermented in salt water to lock in vital vitamins when fresh produce was unavailable. In the sun-drenched south, ratatouille was created for the opposite reason. It was a humble peasant dish designed to use up a massive surplus of summer vegetables before they spoiled in the heat. In the southwest, fat became the ultimate tool for preservation. By cooking duck legs slowly in their own fat and storing them in jars, a method called confit, families could keep meat edible for several months. That same soil is home to the black truffle. During the winter, locals still rely on the keen senses of trained pigs and dogs to find these earthy treasures buried deep under the roots of oak trees. These iconic dishes were born from the necessity of the seasons, designed to stretch a harvest or make use of whatever was pulled from the sea that morning. Even the world of baking is rooted in these practical regional needs. In Brittany, the thin, savory pancakes known as galettes were made using buckwheat, a crop that thrived in the area's poor, rocky soil. In Alsace, bakers created Flammekueche. This thin dough topped with cream and onions was originally just a tool used to test the heat of the oven before the day's bread went in. In Lorraine, the original 19th century quiche was a straightforward farm dish. It relied on the local abundance of cream, eggs, and smoked pork belly, a preserved meat, with no need for expensive extra ingredients like cheese. In the orchards of the Loire Valley, the famous Tarte Tatin was an accident. After a cook left her apples simmering in butter and sugar for too long, she covered the pan with pastry to save the fruit, creating a caramelized icon by mistake. In Bordeaux, winemakers used egg whites to filter out cloudy sediment from their wine barrels. To make sure the leftover yolks didn't go to waste, local nunneries turned them into the small, custardy cakes we know as cannelés. And in the Basque Country, the region's role as a major trading hub made it the first place in France to produce chocolate, brought by merchants in the 1600s. French baking is a masterclass in resourcefulness, repeatedly turning kitchen byproducts and local surpluses into something legendary. When we look at all these dishes together, they form a clear picture of the country. The butter of the north, the olive oil of the south, and the preserved meats of the mountains all fit into place like a puzzle. They are direct responses to the climate zones and the natural resources of the land. Knowing the deep history behind these flavors, which part of the map would you want to explore first? This cuisine is a map of the nation's past, a physical record of its mountains, its coasts, and the people who learned to thrive there.